Well, my name is Jim Harris. I'm a resident of Mans Harbor, North Carolina, and I'm working with the Democratic Party to bring about change in the government of our state. And one of the reasons that's motivated me to do this is an issue called fracking. I spent a lot of time in Wall Street working with oil and gas people, and I do have some understanding of the industry. When we talk about fracking, what we're talking about is opening up gas fields in this green area right here. And this is known as the Triassic Basin. And these are all shale deposits. So what happens when we frack, we send drill bits down into the earth, we pump water through those drill bits, and we pump chemicals through those drill bits to force apart the shale deposits. And when the shale deposits are forced apart, the water and sand that's put in there will create little pillars. And when that happens, gas, methane gas, is released and comes back to the surface in the form of what's known as flowback. The wells are drilled usually to a depth of 8,000 feet. The drill comes down and then curves to parallel the shale deposit, and then the drilling begins. There are two issues that really are of importance to residents of Dare County. The first issue is, where does the water come to inject in these wells? Where does that come from? It takes about anywhere from 1 million to 2 million gallons of water to frack a well. So if we assume that this acreage here, which is approximately 1,400 square miles, would support 300 wells, then that's 300 million gallons of water that it's going to take to frack those wells. That's a permanent loss of water. That water does not get replaced into the water supply because it's contaminated with chemicals. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But to give you some idea of the comparison here, the water consumption in Dare County and Currituck County on a daily basis is 4.5 million gallons. So we have 4.5 million gallons of water which comes from aquifers, which requires water coming basically down from higher elevations to settle in those aquifers to recharge them. We use 4.5 million gallons a day. The oil and gas industry would use 1 million gallons to frack a well. So that gives you some sense of the consumption of water we're talking about. The second thing that happens is water comes back out of that well, and the water is toxic. Why? Because chemicals are added to the water, and these chemicals supposedly are used to clean the water, to provide protection from bacteria. That's what the oil and gas industry has claimed. What is actually happening is that chemicals are being added to enhance the flow of gas back up through the well. For example, there have been numerous instances where diesel fuel has been used to enhance the flow of gas back up the well. Diesel fuel is not an antibacterial agent. I doubt that any political leader in the state of North Carolina, including Mr. Cook or anyone else, uses diesel fuel to clean their homes. So we have agents going into the water that are known as volatile organic compounds. And these VOCs contain cancer-causing chemicals, and they can leach into the water supply. Now, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Every state that has had fracking has had instances where these chemicals have leached into the water supply with damaging repercussions. There are numerous cases where children and adults have developed tumors. There are instances where drinking water has been contaminated. There are instances where spring water, lake water, surface water has been contaminated. The state of Oklahoma has gone back to the EPA and asked the EPA to help them revive their well water and their surface water because so much of it is contaminated. We are downstream from that. And it's not inconceivable that over time these chemicals could leach through the subsurface and reach our aquifers. The state offers no assurances that that won't happen. And in fact, there's no one out there who can offer the assurance that it won't happen. Every well has the capacity to either blow out or have its casing, which is made of cement, crack. And once that happens, the chemicals escape into the subsurface and they go wherever they're going to go, which could lead to a basin for a lake, a basin for a river, or an aquifer. Our aquifers are recharged by those sources upstream. And if we lose the ability to recharge our aquifers, we do not have drinkable water in Dare County. So it's important, I think, that the citizens of Dare County register with the state their concerns about the ability to maintain clean drinking water in this county. Because it's up to us to protect ourselves, and it's up to us to protect our children and our loved ones. And if we can't do that, and if we can't get the state to work with us to do that, we have much more serious problems ahead than we do today. Thank you very much.